Pro wrestling is an ever-evolving industry, with encyclopedias being updated, documentaries being released, and relationships mended or destroyed. The attitudes and narratives of wrestling superstars begin to change. Individuals like the Ultimate Warrior, Bruno Sammartino, and others are brought back into prominence, while the history of some of the other bright characters are being washed away or changed. Some are pigeonholed and being remembered for that one event or that one specific moment in time. Others become as insignificant as a crossword answer. My job as PWP's resident historian is to remind you of the impact that these individuals and teams left on the industry. This is PW Profiles. You don't hear too much about a professional wrestler being blackballed or behind the scenes. Normally, it's either due to, drug use or abuse, something along those lines. What if I told you there was someone that spoke out about poor wrestling conditions, complained about racism, and wanted to start a union all back in the 70s and 80s? Do you have any idea who this was?
No, because I know wrestling unions are kind of a bad topic.
This was Thunderbolt Patterson. He debuted in 1964. He worked Michigan, Florida, and Georgia. It's been said that his promo work influenced Dusty Rhodes. His and Superstar Billy Graham's influenced Dusty, which, that's a big feather to have in your cap that you influenced Dusty. Like I said, his biggest claim for me to fame is, like I said, he spoke out about the poor working conditions in the 70s. He complained about internalized racism, and he wanted to start a union. Now, all of this actually got him blackballed for many years. He did make a comeback where he won a tag title with Ole Anderson before Ole turned on him to start teaming with Arn. And he was recognized as a legend at Slamboree 93, which is where all the legends fought. It's a fun pay-per-view if anyone wants to go watch that. Yeah, the biggest things about Thunderbolt is he was blackballed just because of his opinions. He was, I wouldn't say he was a focal point, but he was one of the African Americans that seemed to have everything going for him. But because he started bringing up these instances, the NWA promoters started to blackball him. They tried to say it was because he had repeated appearances for what they called outlaw promotions, and what this would be is promotions that weren't affiliated with the NWA. Other people had done that, and this didn't get them blackballed. It's very interesting to me that someone... these three things are still talked about today. Union, racism, and then their working conditions. And all the way back in the 70s, you had one guy already bringing it up. I'm going to assume this is why you don't really hear about it much. Because, anyone that makes wrestling look bad, they kind of sweep under the rug. Dr. David Schultz. They've done it with Fabulous Moolah as of late. But the only time that I actually heard of this guy was on... There used to be that roundtable show, Legends of Wrestling. Not the game.
Oh.
There's a roundtable show. And Dusty Rhodes brought him up for promos. And, they're like, oh yeah, and then they kind of went over it. I'm still wondering if this is one of those things where, yeah, he mentioned him and someone was like, yeah, you can't do that. As of right now, he's still alive. He doesn't really do promotions or anything. He's kind of just went away from wrestling. Kind of a shame. I know that he had to go with his morals, but had he not brought that up and not been blackballed, I really feel like he would have been an A player for the NWA for years to come. If you can, go look up Thunderbolt Patterson, especially when Ole Anderson turned on him because that was actually the foundation for the Four Horsemen. But if you find Thunderbolt Patterson, make sure you save that video, because who knows, one day Vince McMahon may just have that stricken from the internet. But it is not only because of his in-ring work, but because of what he attempted to do outside the ring, that Thunderbolt Patterson is a PW profile.